What's up, TW fans? Jake here, bringing you this week's episode of What's New at Tackle Warehouse. We're getting to the end of May. We got a bunch of hot stuff for you this week. It's getting hot out there in general. Warm weather, pleasure boaters are out, summertime fishing, depending on where you're at. If you're farther up north, you can still be bed fishing, but if you're farther down south, your fish are going to be out there on those ledges, going to be doing some deep cranking and all that kind of fun stuff. So let's get into this week's baits. First one up, bulk packs of Senkos. We all know the Senko is sometimes one of the only thing that'll catch fish, and now we have the bulk packs back from Yamamoto. So we have 50 packs and 100 packs in all the most popular colors. These are really cool. They come in these high quality bags too as well, so you can dump them out, throw all your favorite scent in there, get your Senkos marinating. But bulk packs of Senkos are finally back. People are super stoked, so now you can stock up and keep the boat loaded up. When that bite's on, we all know that you can go through a pile of Senkos quick when they're biting it. Next up, pretty exciting one here from Picasso. This is their JDM pork trailers. Now, we were super excited to get these into stock because for many years the pork trailers were off the market. Now they're finally starting to come back. Multiple companies are making them now. And now Picasso is giving you a high quality option. So these are hand cut in Japan. They're really, really nice, really well cut, really good cuts on the shapes. And they're dyed really well, and just a high quality piece of material. The old school pork trailer, really good for flipping, really good for cold water, dirty water, dragging your jig along the bottom, old school technique. Sometimes this is definitely the way to trigger bites. It's super, super subtle, old school technique, and just has a more lifelike appeal in the water. So they come in the jar like the old school ones. They're in, floating in some kind of liquid in there. So be careful when you open them up. You don't want to dump that stuff all over your boat. But if you're a fan of the old school pork trailer for your jigs, throw them on your spinner bait, stuff like that, Picasso's got you covered. Just more pork trailer offerings on the market. All right, from Shimano, we got a couple new baits. This first one here, their new Ember Crankbait, really small shad profile crankbait. What I like about this thing, it is that longer, more natural shad profile, but some of the other baits on the market that kind of this style, a lot of the old school balsa baits, traditionally really hard to cast. This one, it's got all of Shimano's latest technologies in there. It's got the flash boost, so, you can sit it at rest, and that little piece of foil, shimmers and mimics the scales of a bait fish. But most importantly, on the inside, it has their jet boost system. So you can feel that weight snap back down into the tail and then slide forward at the end of the cast. That's going to dramatically increase casting distance and make it way easier to fish these small profile baits than some of the old school balsa style baits. So, has a real tight wiggle. You can fish it as a crankbait, but you can also twitch it, get it to dart around a little bit. So kind of a combo bait. It fishes like a crankbait, but you can also get some features out of a jerkbait with it as well. The next one up from Shimano is their Verno jerkbait. So this is a really small, compact jerkbait. It's a 95 size. But what I like about this is it's small, compact, really thin profile, but it has 3 hooks on it. There's not many jerkbaits on the market that have those 3 treble hooks in this small of a bait. So it just dramatically increases your hookup ratios, especially for all the guys that are going to be fishing up north here pretty soon. Most of the tournament circuits are going to make their northern swing. Smallmouth fishing, it's always nice to have that additional treble hook on there, especially smallmouth. They'll come out of nowhere and T-bone these things, and it just gives you a little bit better chance of hooking and landing those fish. Again, you got the flash boost system, which is such a cool thing to have on jerkbaits, especially suspending jerkbaits when you pause them and they're just going to sit there and shimmer and have that secondary action. Jet boost system in there, so even though it is small, great casting distance on your standard jerkbait equipment. A couple new soft plastics from Nico Baits. So Nico Baits has got a bunch of cool stuff. Make sure you head over to tacklewarehouse.com and check them all out. So this is their club tail worm. This is a really cool worm design. That tail on the bottom is pretty unique, something I've never really seen before. So you get a lot of quivering action out of it. It is a round body, nice egg sac on there. So you can rig this up on, you can nose hook it on a drop shot, but it's going to be great to fish on a shaky head or something. You have that extra plastic on there, tied those hook points. You can throw it on like a heavier drop shot with a Texas rig style hook, just giving you more meat on there to keep that thing weedless. And one thing that's super unique about this worm is right here in the middle of the body, down here towards the tail, there's actually a hole right through the middle of the bait, and they put that on there so you can add scent to it, or you can add a rattle to it. So a few different options on there. You know, summertime night fishing's coming up. So if you want to add a rattle in there, you know, shake that thing and, you know, get just a little bit of noise, help fish track this thing down, or, you know, load it up with scent just to keep, you know, it'll slowly disperse out and help you get a few more bites, especially when it's tough. The other little bait fish minnow they got here, this thing gonna be deadly on a drop shot. You can throw this thing on a little scrounger head. Really unique little bait fish profile. Down here on the tail, it does have more realistic tail versus like your standard just fork tail. So just gonna look a little bit more natural in the water, especially those clear water situations. But again, people up north, all those clear water fisheries that are loaded with smallmouth, you can throw this on a scrounger. You know, what a lot of people are doing now is fishing little jig heads and using your live scope system, live sonar, throwing out in front of the boat and jigging these things mid-water column for those suspending fish. It's gonna be deadly for that technique. And their last one here is their new Winnow. This is a really cool little soft swim bait. It's actually made out of a really, really soft material as well. So as you can see, you know, it doesn't take anything to bend this thing over. Really heavy ribbing on it, so that's where you're getting a lot of the softness from. It's the middle of the body is not super solid. All that ribbing is just going to reduce material and just give this thing more action, swim a lot easier, especially at slower speeds. But they have some super cool colors. Some of these core shot pours that they do, just kind of a two-tone color pattern and something that's more unique than like your standard, you know, laminate, you know, top and bottom, different color patterns. With the core shot, you get a more three-dimensional look. Really cool. Check out all the colors we got on the website. Now from Netbait. Netbait is expanding that line of bait fuel products. So the Netbait BaitFuel, we got the Lizard, and then we got their Spanky Swimbait. You know, the Lizard gets a lot of play in the early spring. A lot of people Texas rig and fish them on beds. That chartreuse one's one of the best sellers. You can see it easily on that clear water, and when the fish pick it up, and now you got it in a bait fuel option as well. So throw it down on the bed, you know, shake in front of the fish, and now when you're gonna have bait fuel scent just dispersing that whole area, help trigger a few more fish to bite. And then we got their Spanky Swimbait. Again, just a phenomenal little swim bait with the addition of the bait fuel formula. This is gonna be great for like your umbrella rigs. You can throw it on your swim jigs. It's gonna be good for throwing on little swim bait heads as well. So when the fishing gets tough, especially if you're out there on those ledges right now, you know, after a while, sometimes the fish get beat up, especially on a weekend. Sometimes downsizing, especially to a small swim bait, can be the difference in triggering a few bites and just sitting there, you know, hoping for one to bite all day. You know, another one they got here is the CMAC worm. You know, 11.5-inch worm. You know, big ribbon tail worms have always caught fish traditionally, especially in the summertime. Throw them on your Carolina rig, or if you're running the bank, throw it on a Texas rig. One of the best baits to have in your arsenal this time of the year. You know, throw it out there, you know, on your Carolina rig or whatever. It's great for the ledge fishing, deep points, all that stuff. Summertime fishing, you know, they got a bunch of colors. You know, now you got bait fuel formula in the Netbait series. But if the CMAC worm, you know, 11.5-inch worm's not big enough for you, Creme Lures has got you covered with their Coach Whip worm. So if you're really trying to target bigger fish, this is going to be the worm you want to go to. So 16-inch worm, but not only is it a 16-inch worm, it's thick. You know, it's a larger profile bait. The tail, super heavy duty. So this thing's going to move and push a ton of water. A bunch of us in the office have already grabbed a few packs of these. We're going to try them out in the ocean, try to catch some big lingcod and rockfish and stuff like that. We don't have the big river ledges like some of those Tennessee river lakes, but something that's just a supersized profile that's really gonna eliminate those 1 and 2 pounders from biting it. So if you really want to go target those 4-pound, 5-pound, 8-pound fish with your Carolina rig, Texas rig, and you need a big worm, this Creme Lures Coach worm is going to be one you want to check out. Super cool. You know, it's got a bunch of scent on it, and it's made out of a more durable plastic, so you can catch a bunch of fish on these, and they're not going to get torn up like some of the other heavily salted, softer soft plastics out there on the market. All right, let's finish up with a couple terminal pieces. From Picasso, we have a couple new options in this Jika Vibe. So we have them with different hook options. This is a really cool little bait. You're kind of getting the combination of multiple styles of baits in one. So you're getting kind of a Texas rig, a wobble head, Jika rig, you know, drop shot, and vibrating jig, kind of all in one. So put your favorite soft plastic on there. We have a bunch of different hook sizes so you can match it up to kind of whatever kind of trailer you want to put on there. And then you have that nice weight, that free swinging weight. So sink it to the bottom. You can throw it in, you know, kind of sparse cover, but you can work your plastic along the bottom just how you would with a normal, you know, Texas rig wobble head or something like that. But now you have this computer chip blade on there. So since it's such a light material, the vibration picks up super quick and is super fat. It's a super, you know, quick vibration, and just gonna give your bait a little bit different action. So pop it up off the bottom, you're gonna get that vibration on the way up, and then it's gonna kind of flutter on the way down. Just different than, you know, every Carolina rig or Texas rig that people are dragging around. You're just gonna get more action out of your soft plastics and something the fish haven't seen before. And then they're also taking that technology, they're adding those blades over to this little Wacky Head. This is the one I'm super excited to try out. So, you know, when it's tough, the Wacky rig is one of the hardest things to beat. Wacky rig your favorite stick worm, let it sink. But on the, you know, you can lift it up off the bottom, and now you're gonna get that vibration and that secondary action. Most of the time, people throw out a Wacky rig, they let it sink to the bottom, they maybe hop it a couple times, and they move on to the next cast. With this little style of bait, with that added weight to the head on there, you're gonna be able to work this thing all the way to the boat, because your bait's gonna be doing something totally different than every other Wacky rig out there on the market. But just, you know, increasing the action, maybe get those schools of fish fired up and catch some of those fish. It's sometimes hard to catch here in the summertime. Last up, from Floatzilla, we got all these little accessories. So we have the tail maxi. We got these in a bunch of different sizes. We have the Zilla heads and the craw heads. These are awesome little accessories. They're basically little floats with screw locks on them, and we have them a bunch of different styles, so you can add them to different styles of soft plastic. So like the tail one, you can just kind of clip the tail off a straight tail worm, screw this in, and then you're gonna get your soft plastic to float up off the bottom. Same thing with the craw head. You can add these to your little craw baits. So, you know, hook it up to your Texas rig, screw this thing into the head of it, and now that craw is gonna sit up off the bottom. So a lot of the plastics, especially the heavily salted plastic, when they hit the bottom, they sink and they lay flat on the bottom, and they're not getting any action unless it's being imparted by the angler. With all these little accessories, it's gonna float your plastic up. You know, some of the more popular, like the Yamamotos, Zooms, stuff like that, where it might lay on the bottom. Now you're gonna get it pointed upward and get a little bit different action, and just suspend it right there in that fish's face. So cool little accessories. Definitely want to try them out. Just give your soft plastics a little bit different look and hopefully trigger a few more bites. That's going to wrap up today's episode of What's New Tackle Warehouse. For more information or to purchase any of these products seen here today, click shop or link in the description below. If you enjoyed this week's video, hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, let us know in the comments which one of these products you're most excited about.